Hello and welcome to another session of our virtual PatentSight Summit. My name is Holger Zimmer. I am the Director of Marketing at LexisNexis PatentSight. And for those of you who are not familiar with the format of our PatentSight Summit, let me briefly explain how this has been conducted during the last years. So, of course, this used to be an on-site event over 1 or 2 days, where thought leaders from the patent community met here in Bonn. And we always picked nice locations for this event. And this year we literally planned to make it a true summit. And we booked a nice venue on the famous Drachenfels, the Dragon's Rock, which is a hill high upon the Rhine River with a beautiful view. And we wanted to take the participants of our summit in the evening hours on a boat cruise on the River Rhine. So unfortunately, as you all know, things like that can just not happen today in times of COVID-19 and Corona. So the most important thing and highest priority is, of course, staying healthy and safe. And I hope that you feel at least a bit comfortable, in the same way comfortable like being here with us in Bonn on the Drachenfeld, sitting in front of your computer and following this session. So doing this online gives us, of course, also the chance to reach a much bigger audience. As I said, well, we're doing these summit events since 4 years now, and the format is always quite similar. So we always have speakers from the industry presenting best practices in gaining insight for strategic decision making based on patent analytics. We always talk about organizational challenges within corporations and how the role of patent departments changed over the times. And every year we learn from patent experts how to streamline processes or how to gain even deeper insights by using the PatentSight business intelligence solution on an operational day-to-day basis. And we always have contributors from academia informing about, well, latest studies or new scientific approaches to learn from patent analytics. And you see that we had the strategic view, we had the organizational view, we had the operational view, and also the academic view. What we haven't done so far, and this is what we're going to change today, we didn't put the international patent offices into the spotlight. We gave them a stage on our event. And the international patent offices, they're the keeper of the patent system. They are the processor of the applications. They are a publisher, regulator, and for many others like us, they're a data provider. And of course, and that's the topic that we are going to talk about today, there are analysts, like we are analysts. And this is the topic of today's session, patent analytics at international patent offices, challenges and expectations. And let me briefly introduce our panel, starting with Oleg Rena. He is the director of the project office, the Federal Institute of Industrial Property, so short, the Russian Patent Office. And Oleg has joined the Russian Patent Office in 2016 in a role that was just newly created, so the role of the director of the project office FIPS, which is a special consulting unit in the structure of the Russian Patent Office. We have also on the panel Christopher Harrison. He is the head of IP analytics and data insights, representing the UK International Patent Office. And he has been providing patent analyses and data-driven IP research for the US government, I think for more than 10 years. And he's a system engineer by training and a former senior patent examiner at the UK Intellectual Property Office before moving into the field of IP analytics in 2010. Then we have representing the Swiss Federal Institute of Intellectual Property, Theo Niefeller on the panel. He's the deputy head of the patent department and head of patent and technology searches. And he studied mechanical engineering, obtaining a doctorate in industrial engineering with a focus on service management and patent evaluation, and later also obtaining an executive MBA in innovation management. And initially he started working as a project group leader in the area of process engineering for the research and development department at Nestle. And I think since then, since his start in the IP space now, he has been an expert for over 20 years. quite a long time in the business, as all of you. And last but not least, we have from the European umbrella organization, from the European Patent Office, Dr. Nigel Clark. He's the head of IP knowledge research, and he has a bachelor degree in physical chemistry and a PhD in neutron science. And he started with an R&D career in material science and instrumentation with the UK Atomic Energy Authority and the Ministry of Defense. And later he joined the EPO as a patent examiner and going to become an IT project manager. Then he moved forward into the international cooperation at the EPO in Vienna as a coordinator of the PatLib program. And this was followed by research into the patent information market. And for many years, he's responsible for ESPASnet and the EP register. And he is now in charge of patent information research projects. And he has many years of experience of presenting information. And I think a lot of these informations really derive from patent analytics to the user of the IP and the innovation community worldwide. And looking at the titles and the roles of our panelists, I think somehow this gives us a hint that there are totally different departments in the patent offices, and I want to kick it off from there and learn a bit more about the mandate of your patent office and how do you understand the role of the patent office and how do you position yourself in your country with the National Patent Office. So maybe we kick it off with Oleg Ena. Could you give us a bit more insights what the mandate of the Russian Patent Office is, and especially the role that you are filling with this newly created role?
Thank you, Holger, for such opportunity to share my thoughts about patent analytics. In Russian Patent Office, we are developing the corporate patent analytics. You can consider it as a full consulting spin-off in the framework of Russian Patent Office, providing commercial services for corporate customers in different industries. And our customers are companies representing various industries, oil and gas, transport, both area and railways, energy, metallurgy, digital technology, water supply, and so forth. And we provide patent analytics both on strategic level, when company develop its own technology strategy, and on operational level, when company selects which R&D project to invest.
Mm-hmm. And I know that last year when we met at the PatentSight Summit, at the on-site event, you brought a huge book with you, all filled with very interesting analyses based on patent. How many people do you have working in your group in that department that's doing these commercial analyses for industry corporations?
Yes, I have some limitation transferring these huge books with me on when conferences on site, but online format it's good for. I could show you this big book. We have this portfolio of landscapes. It's 9 technology priorities of Russian railways, and we thoroughly do deep analysis around it, and that's it. The number of team members in such projects depends on the structure and the size of such projects. Starting from 15 members, we could extend it to 100 when we have very complex and big project.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And, yes, and starting from patent landscapes, further we provide more company-centric patent analytics, like patent technology intelligence, supporting the buying of very complex technology for our customers, and so forth.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I would like to hand over the same question to Theodor Niefeller, and because I know that you have also this commercial branch in the Swiss Patent Office. Mm-hmm. Could you tell us a bit more about this, how you divide the governmental tasks and the commercial tasks in your patent office?
Mm-hmm. Yes, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for the invitation to this interesting discussion round. So basically, the IPA has 3 main task. Of course, we receive, examine, and maintain applications for trademarks, patents, and designs, and so on. Second, we supporting also the development of law. We cooperate with other IP organizations and supporting other countries to build up IP system. And last but not least, we have information services. So we have the mandate to inform about the IP systems, we inform about the registered protection rights, and we provide also raw data. And how we do that, we have two branches in this information services. One for this commercial branch. This is mainly for professional users of the patent system, like patent attorneys, industrial corporations. And the second for not so much experienced users, like SME startups and single inventors. So we divided by the user group of this information services.
Mm-hmm. And from Christopher Harrison, we heard from the introduction that you have a lot to do with the UK government. Do you also have like industry customers that you provide analyses and consulting to?
So the intellectual property of the United Kingdom, we actually used to offer patent analytics on a commercial basis, but we've not done that for a number of years now. Now, the reason for this is that part of our remit as being a UK government department means that we shouldn't be deemed to be getting in the way of the private sector. And so for several years now, there has been more and more businesses offering patent landscaping and patent analytics services. And this means that the UK IPO has not been operationally commercially in this space for about the last 5 years or so. This means that all of our work that we do at the moment from a patent analytics side is for the UK government. And that started back in 2006, following a UK government review of intellectual property that said we should be making better use of the IP data that we hold outside of simply registering the IP rights. So it's my team's role to use the IP data to help inform government policy, as well as providing patent landscaping and analytics for the government, and providing evidence to feed into a UK innovation funding.
Mm-hmm. And I guess at the European Patent Office is slightly different. So I know that you offer also commercial products, so where you can license products. But when it comes to analyses and services, is it only limited to the public task to inform about and to publish analyses and to inform the community and the society as such, or do you also offer commercial services?
Well, we at the EPO, we don't offer commercial services at all. We're just an intergovernmental organization, and rather like Christoph has just said, we don't intend to get in the way of private business that make money out of providing services. I mean, the EPO is, the mission is really to support innovation, competitiveness and growth, and provide high quality and efficient services under the European Patent Convention. And so we don't have a commercial basis on which to offer any kind of service. We provide resources, and we provide access to the fundamental raw data, the accessible, publicly available data through online services like Espacenet and Register and so on. So these are actually they're accessible for free, or in rare cases where we do have to charge, they're only cost covering marginal cost. But in terms of providing analytical services or any other kind of services, we don't do that. We don't provide commercial services at all.
And for the Russian Patent Office and the Swiss Patent Office, did you experience that the structure of your customers, where you're really offering commercial services, that changed over the time? Maybe Nikola, if you could start.
Yes, we see a difference and also a development in this area. So more and more SMEs are also aware of the strategic importance of a strong IP protection and to integrate also IP in their business strategy. So that becomes mean that more and more SMEs ask also for such information services. And in general, we see a rise of the need for IP and for information about IP. So that means also that more single inventors and private persons have questions about IP. So we see really a development in this area, yes.
Mm-hmm. So you are supporting and enabling people that, on the one hand, wouldn't like to afford having access directly to tools and data to run this analysis on their own, or that just do not have the knowledge to dive into the data. So you are enabling the small and mid-sized companies.
I would say it's both. So on one hand, we give them access to these tools. We have these tools, we have this, but on the other hand, we have also the knowledge how to use these tools, and that's also important. We make the linkage between their questions and to try to find an answer to these questions with our knowledge about the patent information tools and also the patent system.
But I can also imagine that a lot of huge corporations are interested in the technology fields that you define. And we are partnering in this field, so I know quite a lot of your work. And I think this is something that is also very valuable for huge corporations and not just for the SME market, right?
That's absolutely right, yes. We have a lot of requests to build up individual technology fields in a special area and to support these industrial customers to build up these fields. That's a huge demand, yes.
Mm-hmm. And Oleg, I know that your role is quite new. So if you still or have already the experience that customer structure changes or that the demands change for what you do. So when you start something new, you have maybe a set of analyses that you conduct, and with that the demands grow with your customer. Do you see any development in a certain direction?
Yes, I would say the more companies management understand the potential of patent analytics, the more complex demand could be covered by such patent analytics. And starting from only 2 landscapes in 2016, we've grown to 22 landscapes in parallel at the moment. We do 22 in parallel and now cover a much broader scope of industries. And last year was a huge race of digital technologies. Companies, we do a lot of research regarding predictive analytics, smart cities, 5G infrastructure, etc. But also we cover a lot of oil and gas domain.
Mm-hmm. And looking at the patent system as such, well, I think the patent system has not been designed with the idea of being a basis for sophisticated analytics. What are the challenges that come along with this? And I think you are sitting at the source of the data, and you are the ones that know best what the challenges dealing with patent data and analyzing patent data is. Christopher Harrison, could you maybe start responding to that question?
Yes, certainly. So obviously the primary function of the patent system is the registering of the IP rights for applicants who seek protection. And so the biggest problem with that from a data point of view and an analysis point of view for me is the data quality issue. And the problem with that, as we all know, is that because patents are jurisdictional rights, then the data is recorded as it's received by the different national patent offices around the world. So from an analysis viewpoint, this means that over the years, we've had to spend many hours cleaning different data sets, with name harmonization being one of the biggest challenges that many people face. Now, the good news on this front is that many of the name harmonization algorithms, like the ones that PatentSight use, have improved a lot over the years, and that means it substantially reduces the time that we have to spend cleaning the data before we dive into the analysis. But for me, I think also another challenge that comes from the patent system not being designed for analysis is the education viewpoint, and the fact that because the databases are there for people to register the rights, there's a lot of caveats with the patent system, whether that be the way people use the system to deploy their IP strategies, and that often leads to poor analysis because people try and apply the same data analysis to patent data that they maybe do with other data sets, like those from scientific publications. So for us, with the work that we do for the UK government, part of it is also an education piece to educate people in handling of patent data so that they perform and make use of good quality analysis.
Thank you. Nigel, will you comment on this from the EPO's perspective?
Well, sure, thanks. Yeah, I'd go along with what Christopher said to a great extent. Although actually, I think fundamentally the patent system isn't a bad start for patent analytics. I mean, the documents themselves are structured. They're published and created according to convention. So in principle, the data set, the construction, and the availability of data is good for an analytics. The big problem, as Christopher said, is the cleanliness of the individual data elements. And I know a lot of effort goes into the cleaning and harmonization of data, such as name harmonization and so on. We at the EPO, we work with our member states to ensure quality at source, because the individual national patent offices publish their own data. And so it's advantageous if they maintain a quality at source approach, so that right at the point of use or point of creation, if you like, the data is as clean as possible. So it's a never-ending battle. It's a bit like painting the Forth Road Bridge, if you know what I mean. You have to keep at it all the time. But I think in principle, the patent data is suited to analytics. And just as Christopher said, part of the job that I'm doing anyway is to show the power and the utility of patent data, patent analytics for people actually thinking about understanding patent landscapes and how they can be applied in real life.
So for us, in our experience with working for a lot of different industries, demands are getting constantly higher to combine patent data with other sources. Is that also something that demand that is raised directly at the patent office to somehow partner with other sources and bring in other data, or when, especially for the patent offices that provide commercial services? Do you, for the time being, already put other data sources into your analyses, or are you 100% focused on patent data?
Yeah, maybe I can take up these questions. For the time being, we are focused on patent data, but we have this request more and more also to combine patent information with other information like trademark information or from design. So that means from other protection rights, but also more and more with scientific and literature, and also other information in the internet and so on. So this demand to combine really different types of data increases a lot in this time now. And yes, that would give us the opportunity to analyze also the relationship between these different type of data and information, and that would be a great step forward if that would be possible, but it's not the case for the moment.
Mm-hmm. And Oleg, how is that in the Russian Patent Office and in your department?
Yes, but you know, as we act as on a strategic level of technology management, we consider patent data as a source of valuable information, like a monolith. Certainly, we know about internal problems like name standardization, correct patent family composition, etc., but we don't much involved in such tasks. We act as a dedicated consulting unit, so we do improvement and enhancement of patent information on our side. We are developing our proprietary algorithm to harmonize families, to recreate corporate trees, correct names, etc. But patent information is an extremely valuable data set. So we take it with all these bugs and inaccuracies. And what we can do, we correct on our side. What we cannot do, we leave it as is. And I think that the more serious challenge regarding patent analytics is that modern companies' technology management don't understand exactly the potential of such instrument. They don't know how to implement patent analytics and to corporate technology policy making. And our goal to help them to use patent analytics as a valuable and robust tool to do proper technology policy making.
Mm-hmm. So are there any demands when people approach to the patent office? Or is it quite clear what your offering is, that you're always able to fulfill what people ask from you? Yeah.
Yeah, it's most of the time it's quite clear what's the demand, but as I said, there are more and more also demands to combine this information and to provide really insight from different perspectives into a certain question. And therefore, we are also looking for other data sources, not only patent information and to combine this information, but the core is still patent information. And as different people already said, it's a really valuable information and gives a lot of business information as well. And what we want to do is we want to provide this really valuable information also to SMEs and companies who are not able to have a huge patent department or a patent analytics team. So we want to help them really to access this important information as well.
Mm-hmm. So I think, well, the interest from the industry and from all of our customers, from your customers and our customers, I think the interest is more an interest in technology and innovation as such, but the vehicle and the tool that we're using, because we are all working in this industry, is based on patent, right? Would you say, well, this is the right point, the right perspective to see, or, well, at least for us it is like the demands are going more into understanding innovation as such and understanding innovation spaces, and not just understanding patent landscapes. Christopher, what is your perspective on that?
Yes, certainly. And from a UK perspective, that's very much the sorts of questions that we've been asked by the government at the moment. It's about trying to understand the full innovation life cycle. So the UK government funds various projects. That might result in academic literature being developed through various universities undertaking academic research. And then IP and patents is a potential fallout from that further down the innovation life cycle. So we're doing an awful lot of work looking at that entire life cycle from start to finish. and where IP fits into that. And that's not just patents, but that's also looking at where in that life cycle people are filing their trademarks and any other registered designs, and trying to get a better handle on the importance of IP more broadly to innovation. So it's certainly something that requires, as other people have said, the use of additional data sets and data sources, and bringing those together alongside the patent data to really enhance the value that can be gleaned from patent data that we all know.
Mm-hmm. Here's a question from the audience asking on how do you actually apply patent analytics, if you're doing this all with self-developed tools, or if you're also relying on commercial tools. Yeah. Well, I know for some of them I know the answer, but I'm happy to hand this over to you. So it would be nice to have the perspective from the European Patent Office around that.
Sure. Well, I'm a newbie to this, a relative newbie anyway to this. But what we've started to do is to publish what we call PatentSight reports into newly emerging technologies. So really ones at a very early stage. They haven't really created a huge critical mass yet, but they are still amenable to patent analytics. So what we've tried to do is to look at some of these niche technologies like graphene composites and quantum sensing and metrology. And we've tried to use these as test cases, so that what we do is try to be completely transparent. So we take the subject matter, we get patent examiners to help us create a patent search strategy, which we then use to create a data set. The data set is cleaned, as Christopher points out, that's very important. And then we can do the analytics on that. So you can take this data set of this emerging technology and slice and dice it in a number of ways to show timelines, to show the major players, the major inventors, the location of the origin of the technology or the inventions, and how those inventions are protected elsewhere around the world. So these are the kind of things that we do in a given report, but we make everything transparent so that we can say, look, everything that we've done is publicly available. Mm-hmm. So in this particular case, somebody who's an expert, or let's say a practitioner in that technology, can try to redo the analysis that we've done, or analyze the data in a different way, or use the analytical methodology at a later time to see how the landscape has progressed. But also we make the methodology clear so that if anybody wants to apply it to another technical field, they're free to do so. So that's really what we've been trying to do, is to introduce the science, technology, engineering, mathematical community to the power of patent analytics by making everything transparent and using publicly available resources.
Absolutely. So we as a company, we're following a similar approach. So everything that we do in our methodology is also very transparent and published with scientific papers, so everybody can at least read what we did and how all this is done. And I think this is really a very important point to be transparent in that case. Let's hand the question over to Oleg Ena about the way and what tools or how you apply patent analytics.
You know, as we do a lot of research and we have a lot of products and services in our product line, we use a lot of different patent analytic systems. Mm-hmm. Now we have, I think, 7 different patent analytic systems with high editions like Platinum, Executive Edition, to gather all valuable business function from each system, compose it somehow, and provide to our customer a unique set of features that couldn't be reproduced. Mm-hmm. And I think we have very big problem on methodological level, not on instrumental. We have instrumental support and we could use such patent analytic systems, but we need to align these patent analytics tools to companies' technology management. Each company has their own technology or innovation strategy, and they have the set of predefined technology priorities. We starting from these documents, not from patent. but we're starting to decompose these technology priorities of company. And then we decompose each technology priority to hundreds of independent topics. And then we do deep technical analysis involving patent examiners, involving subject matter experts regarding these 100 independent topics. And we're trying to transform each analytical view we get to practical recommendations to our customers, how to implement such analytics provide in view of their own technology priority area. And I think this is a good point to implement patent analytics on corporate level.
Okay, thank you. And in the Swiss Patent Office, I know that you have, I think, like 50 or even more examiner and covering totally different industries. So there's a high level of personal knowledge for totally different technologies. But when it comes to tools, what is the landscape of tools that you're using to somehow combine the expert knowledge with the analytical knowledge?
Yes, very good question. We are really using a lot of different tools, and what we try is to take for every question the tools with the advantage or which are most fit to this question. It's different if you have questions in the field of chemistry and biotechnology or more in the mechanical field. Then we are using to build up the technology field. We are using different tools. Then we transfer it to the analytics tools and add some more information there, and then we make the analysis there. But it depends really what is the question, what is the type of industry we have to request. And yes, it's true. Then also a very important point is beside the tool is also the expert knowledge of the expert who is doing the analysis, and there we try always to have the best expert in this field we have available, and to combine tools and knowledge of the expert.
And if somebody does not have this expert knowledge, and I guess, well, you said, well, you totally trust the quality of source, and you all say and agree that the patent data as such is a clean database, and of course there is some refinement to be done, but I guess you totally trust the citations done by the examiner, and that this is all on a very high level because these are all experts in their field. Wouldn't it then be possible also for a non-patent expert be possible to do these analyses by considering the data points that already are given? Or do you think that an analysis always requires a subject matter expert in a certain field?
You need this expert knowledge. I would say it's always also, you have to understand also the patent system. This, you mentioned the citations. These citations are different, not in all the industry. The citations are exactly done in the same way, and also in different patent systems. For instance, in the US, they cite different than the EPO do, and also we in the Swiss Patent Office, we handle the citations in a different way. So you need also to know what's behind the data to understand what is exactly the reason why something is cited and why it's cited so much times and in a different area, or maybe it's cited in a different way. So you need this knowledge also about data behind, and to understand also the systems behind, to understand the different patent systems and so on. So that's a good point, a really important point.
I couldn't agree more, because we of course know all the challenges as a provider and a vendor of an analytics tool, and we are putting a hell lot of manual and personal effort into harmonizing all this and taking into account the practices of the different patent offices and the citation practices in different industries. And well, giving all this knowledge and all these harmonization into the database that runs behind our software. And therefore, I started and I had the perception, well, if that is all set in place, it maybe doesn't require that high expert knowledge in the subject matter, and you can rely on an even more refined database. That was the point that I wanted to start a discussion with you around this. Any other thoughts from anyone of the panel?
I'm just saying from our point of view and the reports that we've been publishing recently, the fundamental basis is the examiner expertise, because they are the subject matter experts and they know it in fine detail. And so the building block, the foundation of what our analysis have been, has been the basic, the original subject matter of technical subject matter of the examiners, but also the knowledge of the patent system, the classification systems, which is second to none. And so we build on that to create a data set, and then they are the ones who can actually help us clean the data, because they're the ones who really know what's good and what isn't. So from that point of view, I think the examiner expertise is vital, it's invaluable.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I want to jump on another topic, because it's just the circumstances around us that we have to deal with every day, talking a bit about the COVID situation with regard to analyses. What are the point of interest that are raised to you, and the demands to have analyses that dealing with that topic? And I would like to ask that question to Christopher Harrison, as you said, well, you're doing a lot of things for the UK government, and what is the special point of interest from them with regard to COVID analyses?
Yes, so we've been particularly busy over the last few months looking at COVID-related analyses. When we first went into lockdown here in the UK, there was a big push from central government as part of the UK Ventilator Challenge to throw the question out there to companies to come up with new ventilator technologies that could be mass produced. So we did quite a lot of background work for the UK Cabinet Office, looking at supporting patent literature to assist in companies who have got underlying skills in ventilator technologies and other technologies that could be redeployed in the ventilator area. But we've also looked at patent landscape related to personal protective equipment, antiviral agents, and a number of other things. Other than that, we've also done other analyses internally, looking at trying to understand the impact of COVID situation on the IP system going forward by monitoring filings coming into the Intellectual Property Office and trying to have an understanding on how that might affect us going forward with our forecasts for IP activity in the coming months and years, and the effect on the global economies as everyone looks to recover as the COVID situation unfolds.
Mm-hmm. And Nigel, you said your analyses, they're like self-motivated, so there is nobody who commissions these analyses. Do you look at different points, or is it fairly the same that Christopher just mentioned?
Well, if we're not talking about COVID anymore, it's basically self-motivation. What we try to do is to identify emerging technologies which are potentially disruptive, which certainly have a potential to make a difference, and we try to get in there and do the patent analytics and landscaping at an early stage. So what we're trying to do is to find a way to identify technology subjects which are going to be interesting, and we're trying to find a scientific way to spot interesting technologies. We can certainly look at things like technology readiness levels, Gartner hype curves, but we also monitor things like the scientific social media very closely to see what is beginning to stir interest. And we're also looking into the signals given off by the scientific and let's say the scientific literature, which are an early signal to things that might come down the line as patentable technology later on.
And how is that in Russia? Because you said at the beginning, the main industries that you're working for is, of course, like transportation, energy, oil, gas, also aviation. So there's not so much connected with healthcare, with pharmaceutical, etc. Do you see any special demands that deal with analyses around COVID in Russia?
Yes, we have no such expertise in pharma and medicine because we have not so many customers coming from these industries. But we do in March complex research based on our own methodology regarding COVID-19. And after that, we do ongoing monitoring of all new solutions, all new patents coming in this exact area. And as we do very detailed decomposition of such area, we split it up to technologies, products, etc. We gather in all new common information related to COVID and put it in place and do some incremental updates to our research.
And in Switzerland, as you said, well, these are mainly small and mid-sized companies that are interested in what you're doing.
Yes, it is, but not only. Also, we have also a lot of requests from the huge pharmaceutical industry, as you can imagine, and these demands are mainly for therapeutical processes or pharmaceuticals to treat the COVID virus. And on the other hand, this SMEs, there we have more requests for related technologies like protection systems to protect the mouth and nose and so on, and or to protect the screen or something like that. So there is really different between these large industries and the small and medium industry, but somehow it's related to this COVID-19 situation. But not only, we have also a lot of requests for other technologies, and they use the time also to be innovative also in other areas, not only for COVID-19 situation.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And Nigel mentioned.
Can I just come back?
Sorry, yeah,
just
go
to
ahead.
say that, not that we're not doing anything with COVID, we are. We are looking into the various landscapes of areas like vaccines, therapeutics, diagnostics, PPE, and so on. So these are, again, it's not a commission. It's because the EPO wants to do something that's socially valuable to foster innovation in the technologies which may be used against the fight against coronavirus.
Mm-hmm. Okay. There was another thought that I just picked up. As you said, you're doing a lot of things in trying to find out what is the next disrupting technology. I guess that it's the same with the other patent offices, that you always trying to find the next big thing. How much time would you say are you spending on topics like artificial intelligence? Well, looking at the automotive industry, autonomous driving, things like that. Are these trending technologies? Is that really a major part of your analyses, or it's like just a minor part because there are not so many? There's huge interest from public, but actually there are not so many people working in these spaces.
I mean, from our side, from the EPO side, our chief economists unit have things like autonomous driving vehicles, the fourth industrial revolution, and so on. So these are really quite big sectoral studies. So that's definitely been part of the activity of the chief economists unit. I work in the patent information, patent data area, and what we've tried to concentrate on are not such big topics, but really the very much about the emerging technologies, which have not made a splash yet. So we have covered various things from blockchain, which is emerging, to cancer immunotherapy, quantum technologies, graphene, but these small niche technologies which are just emerging. And we try to illustrate the application of patent analytics to those technologies for experts in the field, but also the methodology to people in other technological fields.
I'm just seeing here a question from the audience. Somebody asking if there are plans that the other patent offices will be developing or joining the USPTO in their patent for partnerships marketplace. Are there any developments in that direction ongoing? Nigel, would you like to respond on that?
That's definitely something beyond my pay level. I don't think so. I don't think so. That's really something that's a high level topic, and I wouldn't want to comment on that. Okay, good. I think it's pretty much the same for the other panelists, as nobody was directly jumping on giving an answer to that. But maybe we could talk about the vision. So what is the vision, your vision for the future patent system? Is there any vision? Oleg, maybe you could start. What would be your vision for a future patent system?
Yes, as our projects are becoming more and more complex, and we're starting to act with some strategic area of companies, we see that we should integrate with other technology management tasks, like long-term strategy development, technology transfer support, technology due diligence, etc. And to grow in such direction, we should combine patent analytics with other techniques of technology management, like technology road mapping, foresights, market research studies, to combine patent analytics and make them foresight functions. When you state some industry state on today, we need to understand how this area should be developed. And when we combine it with technology road mapping, for example, you can get 5, 10, or 15 years forecast how this exact technology that we reveal could evaluate and could evolve in the future. I think main point from my point of view and from our expertise in corporate implementation of patent analytics. And also, if you look closer, you could see a noticeable gap. On the one hand, we have perfectly clear technology management goals and tasks of modern companies. On the other side, we have valuable patent data that could help in companies' decision making, and a big void between. This big void could be realized by using some methodologies. We should start from companies' technology management tasks and goals if we want to develop patent analytics in such direction. And I see that corporate patent analytics is it should be more proactive in this direction.
Okay. Christopher Harrison, what is your vision of the future patent system?
Well, on a fundamental level, I would say that the most important thing for the patent system is that it remains fit for purpose, both for people who are filing and maintaining their IP rights, but also for the third parties that want to have a clear understanding of the monopolies of protection that are being granted. From an analytics perspective, I would say the future vision of the system is to make sure that it's in a position where we can make full value of it. And what I mean by that is the ability, as we discussed earlier, about integrating easily other data sets in there to complement the analysis that we undertake. And so there are quite a few challenges that we all face at the moment when it comes to matching different data sets from different data sources. and the ease of systems to be able to integrate from different sources and different databases will make the analytical work that we undertake at the IPO a lot easier, and help us be a lot more responsive to responding to requests for data and analyses from government.
So do you see really that the task of integrating other data sources is a task that should be solved by the patent offices, or would you say, well, this is the future, is your vision of a future patent system, but integrating other data sources and combining data and also combining like business data with patent information, that is the part of the vendors and of the software suppliers? Or do you really see that this is something that has to be solved in the patent system as such?
I don't think it needs to be solved in the patent system as such, but I think there's quite a few questions that could be asked of the patent system to make it easier for those things to take place. So, for example, when it comes to putting in the ability to match the business data, at the moment, a lot of it is done by name matching techniques, and actually the patent system could consider if there was global desire to actually have identifiers in place like VAT numbers or equivalents in other countries to be able to make that linking of different data sets a lot more easy. And then other identifiers on maybe the inventor level. So we deal a lot with looking at the work of academics and linking to their data. So there's a big push to try and get things like ORCID IDs in there to actually look at scientific publications from academics and resulting patents that come from them. So there's lots of things that could happen. But I think you've also got to remember that fundamentally there's not necessarily the drivers from the IP offices to make any of these big changes, because our primary function is in the registering of the IP rights and not the end analytics that come at the end of it, which is why a lot of these things, as you say, are being handled by the vendors of like yourselves, rather than being done on a patent office level.
And Nigel, is there anything that you would like to add, or that your colleagues covered the major points when it comes to your personal vision of the patent system?
Well, I think the important thing is that the patent system needs. This means it needs to adapt to things like geopolitics, the increasing complexity and depth of technology, the business requirements of the applicants and the people who are protected by patent protection, and the needs of society. So all of these things come together, and the patent system needs to adapt to all of those. But I think that one of the important points of the patent system is that it is open, so that it's not just a business about registering and establishing rights. It's also being transparent and publishing information. So that's very important, that publishing and how people can make use of those publications. So this comes down to things like the patent information, what's available in patent databases for retrieval, and how that information can be turned into intelligence. And again, I think we touched a little bit on how do you match or link patent data to other data sets. And I think the EPO's approach is along the lines of what Chris has said. It's not really down to the patent offices to link patent data to other sources, but to make that feasible. And the EPO's approach is to create, at least for the data that we're responsible, we've made data linkable to other data sets, so that if people want to come along and say link, for example, patent data to safety legislation data or clinical trials or whatever, then the data are available to do that. But I don't think it's the EPO's or the patent office's job to make the linkages themselves, but just to make the data available for linking.
And Thierry Nicola, when it comes to your vision, I would phrase the question slightly different and ask about the vision of the offerings of your patent office, because I think the vision of the data set and making data better accessible and making data more feasible to be combined with other data sources, we are pretty aligned with that. So I would like to ask a bit more about the offerings of the patent office. What would be the future offering or your ideal future offering to really meet the demands of your customers, whether these are commercial customers or these are policy and organizations or the government? Is there anything that you personally would like to change in your offering and things that you can imagine to bring up?
Let me first to add one point to what my colleagues already said, and that's my vision is also in general more quality than quantity. So that means that we have to invest really still a lot in to make this data better, to also at the data source. So that means also we as patent office, we have to invest into to clean the data and so on. So that's still a huge task to do. So my vision is really that we have more quality than quantity in the system. The other point is what my colleagues already said is this link between different types of data. Now, what that means for our offerings. Of course, we try to develop our offerings according to the needs of our customers, and they have more and more really special requests. So that means their requests are more focused on their special situation. So that means it's not anymore possible to make a technology field along with the IPC or the CPC and to combine it with some words. You need also we often also use artificial intelligence or semantic search to add this special request to the data and to clean up this data again and to focus exactly on the request of the customer. That what we see more and more. And yes, my vision is that all this tools, cleaning up data, search also with semantic or in pictures are also combined with the analytics tools. So that's is one yes, in one framework. For the moment, it's separated in different tools. And if you jump from one tool to the other, you search in one tool, you search with another tool, combine this data, and then you transfer it to the analytic tools. At the end, you always lose a part of your data. And my vision is that we have really a system where we can combine all these data sources in a proper manner, and therefore also provide accurate and yes, analysis to our customers.
So I hear that you are also open for technological solutions like artificial intelligence, applying to defining technology fields and bringing patents together and finding out about relations between patents, and not just only relying on the citations of the examiner. Because previously I had the impression that you have, well, there is no way around the examiner, which I totally agree as a first step, but I think nowadays we have more technical opportunities to even apply AI solutions to patent data and to learn from that, or to at least have a chance to make all of our work more efficiently, and to really look at these spaces where the machine already said, well, this is a place worth looking to, and then add the expert knowledge to us and to refine this step by step, and with an iterative process really to shape out the best results possible. All right, I think we have already some overtime. I thank you very much for this discussion. I really enjoyed it a lot, and we had some more questions on the panel, of course. Some of them, they got really into smaller fields, and I think we can maybe catch up and give some answers when we message all of the registrants and attendees from today's webinar and maybe give a bit of more of our thoughts to them and answers to the questions. Once again, thanks to all of you for being here, for spending time with us. We talked a lot about vision. So our vision is we like to help the global innovation community to make better decisions. That is what PatentSight stands for, to be more productive, to comply with regulations, of course, and to achieve better outcomes. And at the end, drive progress and advance humanity, especially in times like we have now with the COVID pandemic situation. I think it's worth looking at patents and learning from looking at patent landscapes and finding new players in the space and finding potential for partnerships and collaborations, to make the world a better place at the end. What I can promise, as soon as we have overcome this pandemic, we will restart doing on-site event to meet you all in person. I would love very much to have you all again on a panel discussion, but then on-site and in person, maybe here in Bonn at our next PatentSight Summit in 2021. I would love really to have you here, and thanks a lot again. And to the audience, stay safe and healthy, and we will keep on bringing webinars online with interesting topics. So always my advice, check out what's on our PatentSight website with all the webinars. There are definitely interesting topics to come. Thanks a lot to all of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.